Washington, D.C. And what I want to talk to you about today is a theory that I've had a long time regarding opening, and I call it lawnmower theory. Basically, the idea is that a lot of times when you open a conversation, you're going to need to try multiple times. The first thing you do may not work. It's like those old-fashioned lawnmowers you used to have as a kid where you pull the choke and the engine kind of starts and then dies, and you pull it again and it starts and then dies, and it keeps going and going, and then illogically on like the sixth pull, all of a sudden it works, right? And it could have worked on the first pull, usually doesn't, but it could have worked on the 20th pull. It doesn't really matter how many times you have to pull that damn choke, but it matters that eventually it starts. In a certain sense, conversation is the same way. In the sense that you start a conversation, a lot of times it'll go for a second and then it'll die. And it'll go for a little bit and then it'll die. And you try something new and it goes a bit and then it dies. And eventually if you just keep pulling and pulling, generally, usually, something will work. It's throwing enough stuff against the wall until something actually hits. Okay, and this is a theory I've talked about a lot, and it's something that students that I've had on boot camp will definitely vouch for. A lot of times, my first open doesn't really work. I'm not like the hardest opener, but what happens is I'm able to just keep pushing through it until eventually something does work. And it doesn't matter how many attempts I had to make until it worked. It just matters that eventually that lawnmower starts. And once you're in conversation, the engine runs on its own volition, on its own accord, and you can just sit back and let the conversation come to you. Okay. So that's the idea, is you need to be somewhat persistent on the open. However, a new little wrinkle to this, I was talking about this with Julian the other day, and we kind of came up with this together, but is that you want to keep throwing new ideas with each wrinkle. You don't just keep persisting in the same way, right? If you said, hey, it's really, warm out here tonight, and that doesn't go anywhere as a conversation, you don't just go again with, hey, so it's really warm out here tonight. No, it's the weather. It's really, you don't just keep hitting that same thing, all right? In the same way that, like, if you're asking a girl out, you don't just say, like, hey, let's do lunch. She's like, no. She's like, okay, well, let's do lunch, right? You keep trying different things. It's super, super important. And so there's sort of a wide array of different things that might work. So for example, I might go in and just be like, hey, conversational, be like, hey, isn't that interesting how XYZ thing happened? Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. Next one, maybe I'll go ad hominem, make it about the girl, be like, you know what, you have the funniest expression, the way you did that was so interesting. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. That's actually a really good one. That one works a very high percentage of the time. Another one might work is just like tell a story and express emotion, but you know what? I love the zoo. I love animals, right? Or I hate the zoo. I hate whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I love, I hate, express an emotion and tell a story. That's another form. Another one is ask an opinion. Hey, I need your opinion on something. That's one we used to use a lot back in the day, right? So there's all these different things that you can do. And what you want to do is you actually want to cycle through them. You don't want to just stick to one and just have only one way that works. You don't want to be a one-trick pony. You want to cycle through them and keep hitting different things, keep hitting different stories. And there's a million different things. You can do logical, deliberate illogicality like Alex does. Be like, I need a watermelon. Are you a lawyer? Right? Something just makes no sense. Right? I'd be like, sometimes you feel so goal-driven and sometimes you just want to kick a field goal. Just some illogical thing. That's another format. There's a million different things that you can do. You can be like, I hate you. Do you know why you suck? You can be like, dog, like Julian does. You can do a million different things like that. I love you. A million different things. All of them designed to get a different reaction. All of them slightly different. So the idea here is, if you don't get an open, keep cycling through these things, and sooner or later, one of them will probably work. Not always, sometimes you just can't open, but usually one of them will work. And it doesn't matter, again, if it's the first one, the second one, the fifth one, or the 10th one that works, but keep cycling through these different things. And what will happen is your subconscious brain is very, very intelligent, and if you keep cycling through them, just start out randomly at first, start out doing whatever, but eventually you're going to start to get like sort of a feel for it. You'll start to see in a particular situation which one's likely to work. And so that's why a lot of times students will ask me, like, what did you say? Why did you say that? And the answer is, I don't know. I really don't know why I did what I did a lot of the times. It just came from experience, because I've tried all these different iterations. I've tried all these different things so many times that eventually subconsciously you start to understand what will work and what won't, and that's the thing you throw, okay? So it's a very simple video, very short video. The concept is very, very easy, very intuitive, but it's very, very important, which is treat it like a lawnmower. Keep pulling that string, keep starting the conversation. Every time it dies, it's okay. Don't take it personally. Do not take it personally. It's not a big deal. It's not a reflection on you. It's just a reflection on the conversation. It's a reflection on what's happened, and realize different people have different interests. Like, you come to the zoo, right? For example, some people will sit at the zebra cage back here, which I hope I actually got zebras on this. I don't know if we even got any movement, but we'll see. Some people will sit at the zebra cage all day and love the zebras. Some people will go watch the cheetahs. Some people will go watch the gorillas. Some people will go from animal to animal to animal with ADD. Everybody has a different preference, and so sort of what you're doing is you can't know when you go in what the girl's conversational preference is going to be. You can't know that. But what you can do is you can cycle through the likely possibilities until something sticks, and that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. And again, I've given you some formats for various things that can work. What are those? Tell a story, have an opinion, interrupt, deliberate illogicality, ask, give a compliment, ask a question, right? All these different things, even do something insulting, do something that triggers it, like, hey, I don't even want to talk to you, right? Go away. Hey, come here. Any of those different things can work. Open physically, like Tyler did Just Do This video. Million different things you can do. What you want to do though is cycle through, keep trying different things, and keep trying. Keep trying until it is actually burnt to the ground. That's the only way you'll actually ever know. And you will be amazed how many times the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth one doesn't open, but that sixth one works. So keep trying, keep pushing it, and eventually you develop your intuition so that you'll be able by feel to almost always know what the proper way is to open a site. It's like, I don't know, like picking a lock, right? You just think you have that particular feel after you've done it enough times. Not that I've ever picked a lock, but in any case, that's how I would intuit that picking a lock would be. But yeah, you just keep trying it, keep going by feel, figure out what works, keep pulling that lawnmower cord, and you will be amazed how many more sets you can open